We've got some
Hey, I'm Luis.
And I'm FONZI.
And you're listening to the Content is Profit podcast,
where we talk about entrepreneurship, mindset, and of course, how to turn your content into profit.
Go to contentisprofit.com, join the community, come join the party because it's amazing, guys.
Because it's a party.
Because it's a party. Well, it's a party that makes you this. Ka-ching.
Look at that.
Ka-ching.
And you're going to be partying with awesome people, an awesome network, all very driven entrepreneurs. So come join the Content is Profit family right now.
That's right. FONZI, what are we talking about today?
Good question. Today we're talking about how to turn your passion into profit. Let's go.
I mean, is there a theme? Is it content and passion and profit? And it's going to be so good.
I love this topic.
Yeah.
This is going to be a very fun topic to dive in.
FONZI, what's your passion? Don't answer. Hey, do we have a sponsor today?
Yes, we do. We do. Thank you for asking. Today's sponsor is your own, the BIZBROS. Yes, if you produce a long-form piece of content just like this one that you're listening to or watching, and you need a content post-production team or podcast monetization strategies to help you in your journey, please reach out, slide in the DMs at BIZBROS Co. on Facebook, on Instagram.
Hey, don't forget to follow the show because every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturdays, these episodes are dropping directly to your phone with incredible golden boulders for you to take action and actually change your life for the better. Don't you want a better life? I think you want a better life. I want a better life. And this is why we do this.
That's right. That's why we're listening to Content is Profit. That is why. Guys, if today's guest help you take one step forward towards your goal, please don't forget to share this episode with at least 3 friends and don't forget to leave a 5-star review. Thank you.
All right, let's get this party started. Today's guest is someone that we wish we would have met when we first started our entrepreneurial journey. Our good friend and previous Content is Profit guest, Jen Meyers, is the one that introduced us. So don't forget to send Jen a quick message thanking her for this epic episode.
That is right. Today's guest is just for you if you're thinking about taking the leap from your career to pursuing your passion. She will take you from starter to start up. Let's go. And in a profitable way.
Let's go. Today's guest is the social proof, perseverance, and hard work. It took her a decade to get into the right direction, but now she hasn't been able to stop at all. She is now even building the Passion to Profit Summit to get the opportunity to serve even more people.
So good. Baby.
So good.
Oh yeah, please welcome international entrepreneur, award-winning mindset coach, the one and only Beate Sifkovits. Let's go. Woo. Look at those dance moves.
Hey, let's go.
Totally up for doing this in a club, by the way. I'm ready. Let's do this.
Let's do it. Beate, how are you doing today?
I'm great. I've had lots of coffee, so I'm quite tuned up. Let's jump in.
Yeah, we can tell. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I feel like you're wearing this top in my honor. Was that on purpose?
That was definitely not on purpose. I'm going to tell you why, because I did not tell him. For those listening and they're like, what the heck is going on right now? FONZI is wearing an Arsenal soccer jersey.
Oh, you're not.
It says Fly Emirates on it, and I live in the United Arab Emirates.
Oh,
Yeah.
look at that.
Yeah.
What a coincidence. Look at that.
Yeah. Beate, where are you joining us from? Because it's super awesome. First of all, I want to highlight the fact that we can actually do this all around the world. For those that want to publish and want to connect with entrepreneurs, like this is an incredible vehicle. So where are you right now? Because I know that you've been traveling a little bit in the past few months.
I'm in Dubai.
Yes.
I've lived in Dubai for the last 7 years.
Oh, so cool.
Wow.
So we have a home in Dubai now. I'm just going to put that out there. I'm just going to...
Totally. Anytime. You're always welcome.
Let's go.
Wow.
Well, Beate, for those who are not very familiar with you, right? Like what tell us a little bit about yourself, right? You have a little bit of a unique story and why you decided to do what you're doing now, right? How do we turn that into, passion into profit? Like how's this whole idea came to be?
That's a great question and a long story. I think since I was quite at a young age, I've always wanted to discover what it is that was kind of my thing. I always wanted to be really good at something. And I saw some people, they've always wanted to be doctors, or they've always wanted to be a lawyer, or, they were great at football, like you guys. And that was their passion and that what they lived for. And I never really found anything like that. And then I got into a career. I was in marketing. I worked for big companies like Kellogg's. At the end, I worked at Bacardi. I was heading up Grey Goose and Bombay Sapphire for Middle East. But I always felt like, what am I going to do when I grow up? It never quite felt like that was something I was going to do forever. I was still on this constant journey. And I will never forget, we had a workshop at work, probably about 2-3 years even before I left the company. And it was called Shape Your Career. And it was all about finding your purpose and diving into, living your true self and being passionate about what you do and doing more of that. And I was like, I don't know what my purpose is. And I've spent the last bloody 10 years trying to find this. What if I don't have a purpose? And we did this workshop and we had to write things down. And one of the questions was like, well, if you knew what do you want your legacy to be? What would you want other people to know about you? And I wrote down something along the line. I don't know the exact words anymore, but something along those lines. I want to help other people find their purpose and their passion and live a full and abundant life, because I was so frustrated that I couldn't find it. So I was like, well, at least maybe I can help other people. Because by that point, I've tried everything. I've been to all the courses, done the retreats, read the books, watched the films. Like, I can't bloody figure this out. And at the time when we did this workshop, I was like, I really hope nobody, and especially my managers, don't see this, because it's so not relevant to my actual job that I do now. And everyone else was like writing all something to do with kind of the direction they wanted to take in the business. And I was like, nah, hide this sheet from everyone.
Yeah. Wow. I love that. Sorry, is there more to the story?
Of course. She said it was a very long story. Fonzie, what are you doing interrupting?
Sorry. I was like, this is so good. I was like, sorry. Sorry, Beate. Keep going.
It's okay. I will always throw Fonzie under the bus.
There's not that much longer left to go. But
we love stories, by the way. Like, we are here students of this story. So please continue. Fonzie, wow.
No, I'm sorry.
What about a host?
No, just what it comes down to in the end was I still kept a couple of years on this corporate journey. And it got to a point where I think when you realize that you can't carry on anymore and probably got to a bit of a burnout stage, I was like, this is really not what I want to do. I just take a little bit of a break. And I was talking about to other businesses within the organization, like back in Europe, about jobs. And I was like, I just want a bit of time out in between. And it was almost like once I allowed that space and that for something to evolve, it was like I hadn't seen the wood for the trees. It was like finding my purpose and finding my passion. That was my purpose. And to now teach other people to do that. Generally, what I wrote down 3 years earlier was already in me. And I finally recognized that was my path. And that it was like everything changed. Like everything changed within 2 weeks. I knew I would never go back to corporate again. And so cool. I just worked on figuring out how can I use all that stuff that I...
Oh no, hold on. I think the mic might have
unplugged a little bit.
That's us. Oh no, hold on. Okay.
Wait, is it us?
That our mic is muted. There we go. Can you hear us now, Beate? Can you hear us? What's happening? Oh my goodness.
What's happening? I think we got a
new connector over here. All right, can you hear us now? Beate.
I can hear you, but your screen is frozen.
It's frozen. Yeah. Fonzie started drinking coffee and then it got frozen there for a second. So here we go. Hold on. Bum, bum. Camera. Let's do sideways camera, maybe. There we are. All right. There we go.
Look at that side. Look at that side profile right there.
We can talk to you over here. We can talk to you over there. We can talk. Okay. All right, here we go. We can do this for a little bit like this. Now, Beate, I want to really highlight something, like a question that you had is like, what if I don't have a purpose? Like, what a powerful and a scary question at the same time. Because I feel like somebody that has been in a journey for quite a while, that question might come up and it might be very scary to kind of face that head on, right? Because as we grew up, like for us, for example, we had the dream of playing professional soccer, right? And for many, 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 many years. And then, for us, we've shared this story before, but it got to a moment where we decided that was not the thing that we wanted to do anymore, right? Like, and whether we wanted it or not, right? For me, it was like, I decided that this is not, for FONZI, it was a little bit more abrupt, but it was like, now what, right? Like, we are faced with that decision. It's like, what are we gonna do to move forward? So the fact that you decided to take on this like head on was incredible. What are some of, like, mentally, if we go back to that moment, like, what are some of the steps that you actually were able to take to move forward, right? Because some people might freeze in that situation and be like, this might be really scary and I'm just gonna avoid it, and then I'm gonna do something for the rest of my life that maybe I'm not 100% happy about, right? So what were some of the initial steps that you took to get there?
I think there was always this niggling feeling there that I just couldn't shed. I just always knew I wasn't quite on the right path with my career, and I enjoyed it. I had a great job. I had, it was great money. I was traveling the world. I was going to all these fancy parties and flying business class, and it was, and I enjoyed a lot of it as well. But I just always knew it wasn't quite there, and that restlessness kind of kept driving me. So I just always kept looking for different things to do, opportunities to learn something, for opportunities to read lots of books, go on different courses. Whenever I met somebody that I thought that's really interesting. I remember a few years ago, long before I really jumped into this, I saw a coach from the US came to facilitate a workshop here in Dubai. And I just really loved everything she said and what she was doing and how her life was going and the business she was running. And I just asked her, I was like, while you're here, do you mind meeting for a coffee? And even the next day after the event, she was like, yeah, I'm more than happy to. And we actually went for dinner and had a lovely evening. And I just asked her a bunch of questions, like, what is it that you do? Because I didn't really know much about the concept of a coach at that point. But I was just fascinated by it. And 3 years later, she actually became my coach when I was ready for it. But that kind of just did constant questioning and constantly, whenever something sparks your interest, dive into that and keep following that inner niggling, that inner drive that comes up. And that usually guides you to a person, a book, a video, something that will then lead you to the next step. And then slowly and surely it starts evolving and crystallizing of what that can be.
Yeah, I love that. Like, follow that curiosity. And I'm going to play a little devil's advocate here, but, a big topic for us has been focus this past year, right? So for somebody that is focusing on something, but they still find themselves maybe curious about these other things, right? That could lead to, a more powerful purpose, let's call it that way. How do they know, right? How do they know, is it actually worth investing my energy and time into following these things? Or should I stay focused, right? And I'm going to say this, my personal belief on this is that there's no right answer. Honestly, I think everybody's gonna act differently towards this. I'm curious to see what is your point of view, right? But for example, I love just being curious and trying to learn a lot of things, right? Although it can be a distraction sometimes. So me personally, I gotta learn how to manage those things. What is your point of view on that?
I have kind of 2 points on that. The first one, your gut always knows. And we talk ourselves out of it. And our fears take over our mindset. It's like, but what if this? And we imagine the worst case scenarios. But our gut and our inner wisdom always knows when it is the right time and if it's the right time and if it's the right thing for you to do. Well, that's something that you probably need to learn to connect with. But another point to look at is you'll never be ready. It's never the right time. You'll never be ready, and you're never going to know exactly what to do. So it's really kind of identifying and deciding as well. Do you want to take that risk? Do you want to go down that path? For me, it was, I never ever thought I would become an entrepreneur. That was never on my life's journey. I enjoyed having a secure salary. I thought I would not be able to handle that, not knowing where your next paycheck's gonna come from, having to, organize your whole life and being completely responsible for your insurance, in my case, my visa and everything.
Yeah.
I never thought I would, but then the situation came and my gut told me it was the right thing to do. So I kind of fell into that. But then it was also the decision, do I want to take this risk, or do I want to, stay on the safe route, which was also not a bad route.
Yeah.
So it was quite tempting to stay in that protective place. But then also, I think what in the end helped me a lot was there's always going to be another job. If I do this for 2 years, if I do this for 5 years, and then decide actually it's not for me, there is going to be another job. And it's really that what feels right now. You don't have to think about tomorrow. You don't have to think about in 2-3 years time. What feels right now? And constantly keep asking you that question. That's how you tune into your inner wisdom as well.
Yeah, I like that, especially that last part that you mentioned about, I can always go back to a job if this doesn't work, right? And that used to tell us all the time, you don't want to live to be an old man and then asking yourself, what if, right? What if I would have done this? What would have, that regret is probably one of the worst feelings. And there was actually a study. I don't remember now the source, but there was actually a study where they asked people close to their deathbeds what were, what were kind of their emotions, right? They're more powerful ones, and regret came a lot of regret of not, taking a leap or doing something like that, right? Not listening to their guts. And I also related to something I heard once from Jeff Bezos, right? I mean, whether you like the man or not, he's built, a pretty big company, and he says there's only in life, there's 2 or 3 irreversible decisions. All the other decisions that you make in life are reversible. So just make a decision. Don't spend too much time debating on something, because at the end of the day, guess what? If that doesn't work, you can turn around and do something else, right? And I was like, oh man, that is so important. Sometimes we spend so much time debating these decisions that they're literally not gonna take us anywhere, or we're just wasting time, right? Precious time. So I love how you say it's follow your gut, manage your risk, take action, and then you'll see where you get.
Just this morning, I mean, this is an example, right, for somebody that has been publishing too. Just this morning, I met with somebody that has a show, and they're local to where we live, and we had this conversation. It was incredible, and she comes from the Tony Robbins crowd, and she's been volunteering for them, and it was a really cool conversation. And then we started talking, and she has a show that's almost a year old as well, and I'm like, oh, that's awesome. Is this what you do? Is this what you what your passion is? And she really feels passionate about the topics that they talk about, and and I'm like, sweet, how are you monetizing this? That's how we literally the passion, the fun conversation that we're gonna have. Okay, so many people are doing so many interesting things. What are you doing? And well, I have this course that I've had for a few months now, but I'm waiting to launch. I'm like, why are you waiting? What are you waiting for, right? And then we went into that path, but that is very common, right? Whether that's fear of a judgment, fear that it's not ready, fear that it's not good enough for whatever reason, right? And we all go through that. So for those listening right now, let's take Beate's story as an example of let's take action, right? Let's move, let's make that decision. And I love the fact that there's always gonna be that safety net, right? It's not the end of the world whenever we think it is the end of the world, but there's always gonna be people there to support us. There's always gonna be an opportunity waiting for us, and it's okay to pivot and search for those opportunities.
And I'm curious now, where, because passion can be that God talking to you, hey, let's do this, right? And you now are building something, and you're helping people transition that passion, not transition it, keep that passion, but now give it a purpose, right? And help them live through that passion by making a profit. How are you doing this?
So there's really kind of 5 key areas that I focus on when I work with people. Overarchingly, of course, it's all about mindset. But then what's the more practical areas of that is you first start with really creating an incredibly inspiring vision. Where I see a lot of people struggle is to think big enough. It's like, oh, maybe if I could just, survive off what I'm passionate about, maybe I would just be a lot happier as well, rather than my corporate job. Even if I just earn 1/3 of that. It's like, no, think about earning 3 times the amount that you did in your previous career, and really setting your goals that inspire you, that get you up every morning, that make you put all the effort in that you need to be able to succeed in that. So that's really clarifying the vision and getting inspired by that is the first element of it. The second part is then really going into your passion. What is it that you're passionate about specifically? What are your unique skill sets, your talents? What have you built experience in the life that you've had so far? It's going to be very unique. What makes you stand out? And how can you serve other people by doing that? Whether that's a product or a service. I also work with offline businesses. How can we turn all that amazing gift that you have into something a bit more tangible that will help other people? Because that is really what you came here to do, to help make this a better place. And the more you fine-tune who you are and what it is that you can contribute, the more powerful it's going to be. The third thing is figure out who you want to serve. Is it a product that helps families? Is it a service that helps online entrepreneurs? Is it whatever that may be? But who do you feel really connected to? Who do you want to help solve their problems and really fit nicely into their life and be an inevitable decision for them to include you, your product, your brand into their daily journey, into their daily lives? And who do you want to speak to? Who do you want to connect with? So that's kind of part number 3. Part number 4 is all about what kind of life do you live? What kind of life do you want to live? What, do you want to work 6 days a week? Do you want to work 3 days? Do you want to work at night? Do you want to work in the morning? Do you want to take 6 months off in a year? What's that structure? Do you have kids? How does that all fit into the system? Because you really want it to be a holistic life. You don't want to just focus just on the business and just on family and just on your friends. It all needs to fit together. And the happier you are, the more joy you feel, the more you are able to, narrow down on your gifts and serve people better. Yeah. So really looking at that. And also, who are the people that you're hanging out with? Are they inspiring you? Do you have a network of entrepreneurs who are in the same field, who are already really successful? Because that will really impact your mindset as well and give you so much inspiration to how you can grow your business as well. So, I think Jim Rohn said, you become like the average of the 5 people you most spend time with. So, really identifying, do you maybe need to build your network a bit further? Yeah. Things like that. And then part number 5 is all about, you mentioned it earlier, taking action. So what's that unique strategy that fits specifically into your business idea, into your passion? Everyone is different. And, there's so many things we can learn online on books and other people have done it before us. But how do you take that and make it your own? How do you create your unique business building strategy? And what are the actions that kind of follow through that? And how can you make it inevitable that you actually take those actions? Because in the end of the day, you can create all of that. If you don't take action, it's not going to go anywhere. Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry, but you good? Good. I love this, by the way. I'm a big fan of frameworks, right? And when you said here's the 5 things, so that's incredible, right? Obviously, we have the overall arch of mindset, which applies to most things, if not everything in life, right? But I'm going to do a quick review, right? We have, creating an inspired vision. By the way, like for those listening, if you want to head back to minute 19, that's exactly when Beate started explaining all this in great detail, right? But create an inspiring vision. What is your passion and unique skill set, right? Like who do you actually want to serve? Who's the people that you want to help? What is the kind of life that you live? What life do you want to live, right? Who are the people that you have around you? And then at the end is taking action, unique strategy. I love these 5 steps. And I'm sure like, by the way, we're going to tease just a little bit. You have a summit coming on. Secret. We don't want to tell anybody just yet, but links right below. We'll announce it at the end of the episode. But here's a question, right? Like out of these like 5 big pillars, what do you think is the most challenging with the people that you help, right? Because as we start these journeys, there's going to be roadblocks and there's going to be things. And for us, it was very specific when we came to a roadblock and we identified, okay, we got to develop that skill set to go over that roadblock, right? So what is maybe like the most popular roadblock along this framework? Like, where do you find people having more challenges and how are they solving those?
So within those 5 pillars, it really differs. So each client has a different challenge or struggles a bit more with one area or another. But more generically, where the biggest challenge for everyone sits, that is the mindset. That is those fears that are coming up. That is the limiting beliefs. That is what are people going to say if I do this? Oh, I'm not good enough. Oh, maybe tomorrow. Maybe I'll start tomorrow. But I don't like marketing. All of that is the biggest barrier for across the board. Yeah. And then it reflects differently in the different pillars for different people. But the mindset is really the make or break of somebody's success or failure. So it's so important to get that ingredient right and master it.
Absolutely. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, mindset is definitely so key. We mentioned this plenty of times here in the podcast. One of our mentors says your business grows to the extent that you do, right? And actually, in a conversation that I had earlier today with somebody new that we were connecting, she was saying, she said, I've been very successful until I realized I was not, right? She's like, I had everything, but I didn't have...
Hey guys, what's up? Today, Fonzie has an announcement for you. Fonzie?
Way to throw me under the bus. Appreciate that. But guys, today we experienced a little bit of technical issues. So we decided to put an ad from today's sponsor in the middle of the episode. And who's the sponsor?
Tell me they are the BIZBROS?
Yes, we are the sponsors of today's episode with content momentum. And you know what it is. If you produce a long form piece of content like this podcast that you're listening to or watching, and you need a content post-production team or strategies to monetize your podcast, we are here to help you out. Just make sure you slide in the DMs at BIZBROS Co. on Instagram and on Facebook. Now, let's get back to the party.
Before we get back to the party.
Okay, I guess not.
Before you get back to the party, what's your favorite emoji? Send it to us on social media and let's connect. Let's go back to the programming. Let's go.
There we go. This is going to be ringing in my ears for the rest of the night.
Yeah. So we were saying in the behind the scenes that the computer has been giving us some issues in the last 2 episodes. So we're going to have to figure out what's going on here. But don't worry, we're definitely going to go deep into post-production with this one and clean it up. So, when they listen to you, Beate, it can be absolutely amazing. So going back to what I was saying, right? This conversation that I had with my new friend this morning. She said she was very successful until she realized she was not, because her mindset wasn't there, right? She was not there mentally, and it just took a toll on her, and she just totally shifted and started dedicating herself to, let me change my mental habits, right? To get them right. And now she has found herself, as honestly as happy as ever. And she mentioned something that he said, usually your business problems translate into personal problems. They are your personal problems, right? And I think people, when they go into business, they don't see that. They don't see the very close connection between business and personal life, right? I feel like obviously the more you are in the game, you realize that, wow, it's very, very tied together, and my personal life influences a lot on my business and vice versa, right? So I'm curious, like, when do the people that you work with have that epiphany, right? And what are some practices, right, that you provide to them, or that they start doing to start getting into that right mindset needed to build a profitable business off of their passion?
Well, a lot of it's quite unique to each of the each of the clients that I have, and we work through that on a call, like as and when it turns up. But kind of the common thread that goes through all of it is kind of just being open to look at a different perspective. And I think that's where a lot of the issues come from, where you're holding yourself back because you can only see your perspective. There's a saying, we wear, the rose tinted glasses. It really depends on what kind of glasses you put on. That's what you're going to see. But most people don't even realize they have glasses on.
Yeah.
There's so many, there's so many options of different. You could wear sunglasses, you could wear clear glasses, you could wear the gray glasses where everything's just miserable, or you can wear the rose tinted glasses. It's your choice which ones you choose to put on. But yet most people are not aware of that. Once they recognize that they do have a choice, that's when a lot of things shift. And it really comes down to, when you understand that it's all really just made up. Everything, your thoughts and your feelings, like your feeling always comes from your thought in the moment, and all your fears and all of the insecurities you have, it's just made up. It's just as made up as any Hollywood film, any fantasy film.
Yeah,
you just create it in your own head, and once you realize that deeply, it just drops, it just falls off, and all of a sudden a subject that might have been really troubling you, or you would not have been able to, or you thought you're never going to move past, is all of a sudden like, why did I ever even worry about that?
Yeah.
And so these are kind of the key things, that knowing that it's all just made up in the first place, and secondly, that you can choose how you look out in the world, and that will make the world look very differently quite instantly.
Yeah, absolutely. When we have this conversation with many people, especially when publishing, right? Like, we got to start recognizing what are those patterns. Like when am I feeling X way, right? And I remember with our very wise mom, I remember like growing up, and she's like, hey, recognize whenever you're feeling like really angry or like really like enraged, like recognize that you're feeling that way. But once you do, like, you take the power away, right? You're like, okay, now I can make a decision. Either like I continue to feel this way, or I can make the decision to completely shift my mindset and shift, right? But to build that habit, it can become a little challenging, right? Because there's a lot of things happening like every single day. Is there something that maybe you do that continuously, right, to be aware of those shifts, right? Because even right now, after years of different things, like we see things, especially in nowadays, that we have so much information coming our way, whether that's information that we're trying to learn, whether that's information that we don't really want to be attractive. Like, how do we contain that? Do we need to build certain type of like containers in our life to make sure that we're acting in this like safe zone where I can easily identify these patterns? Is there something that you guys talk about, whether that's at on the summit or whether that's with your clients, that can help people identify these moments?
So a lot of it is through conversation and reflection. So speaking to somebody who sometimes we are not able to see a different perspectives ourselves because we're so caught up in it that we can't see the wood for the trees. So that's why it's so great working with a coach to help you, reflect that back to you. It's like, well, actually, is that really true? Is that when did you decide that was the case? Or even just talking to friends, and rather than thinking about, this is the way it is, deeply listen to what they are saying and their perspectives. And they're probably not right, but that will start opening up your mind of how people act and react differently. And then, there's journaling is a super powerful tool that you can use, whenever you even at night, if you go to bed, journal how did I feel today? What were the different things that came up? Why did I get angry at this person? Or why did this person react to me in a certain way? Because we often think that people are causing situations or causing our misery or, our upset or our whatever we feel, or even our happiness. We think the other person is causing that. But nothing outside of us can ever cause our feelings. So seeing like, why do I think that person made me upset?
Yeah.
Well, they didn't, because there was something in you that maybe triggered that, or maybe that you reflected back to them, and it's all a back and forth between the internal and the external, but you have to change internally first. So really reflecting on the day and how things changed, how you could have done different things differently. Sorry.
Yeah, no, definitely. That is, reflection is very, very important. I mean, I'm guilty probably of not reflecting as much as I would like to. I would definitely, I started the journaling practice quite a few times in my journey, and then kind of like let it slip through. So I definitely need to make a better commitment with myself to stick with it, right? And I do believe there is no one way for everybody. I think, there's people that have their morning routines. There's people that don't have morning routines. They just literally, wake up and they are super productive in the first couple of hours of the day, and then they do their other stuff. I don't think there's that one, but I think reflection helps you find what is that one solution for yourself, right? Which is very, very important. So let's transition here a little bit to the summit, can we?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay, so
let's do it.
Now you've been working with these people, and now you're launching the summit, right? The Passion to Profit Summit. First of all, why? Like, why did you decide to do it at a bigger scale? And then, right, what can people expect from it?
So the idea really stemmed out of the fact that we've just had a couple of crazy years, and a lot of people are starting to wake up and are recognizing a lot more that maybe where their path that they're on now is not where they thought they were going to be, and it's not really as fulfilling as they thought they were going to be. And maybe the rat race is not the be all and end all, and priorities are shifting. People are seeing that there is other ways to make money. There is a lot of value in monetizing your gifts, and there is a lot of opportunity out there. And even, there's this even say now that actually being an entrepreneur is more security or more job security than a job, because people can get fired like this at the moment. And then, in the pandemic, nobody was able to get one either. Yeah. So once you learn becoming an entrepreneur, and you learn how to make money for yourself and generate money, you'll always find a way to do that. You'll always be able to pivot, and you'll always be able to recreate and create value and then get money for that. So a lot of people are looking for inspiration, motivation, and tangible tools they can use to go on that journey and to build their businesses. So we really thought, how can we impact even more people to do that and get them really fired up and see the possibilities that are available, and get them even just, taking that one action that will take them on the journey that brings their passion out, that lives out their gifts. Yeah. And that's why the idea for the summit came from. Is like, we really wanted to reach as many people as possible. And even if it's just one thing they take out of it, then that's amazing. And what they can expect, there's going to be over 20 speakers and thought leaders and experts who are absolute trailblazers in their field, you guys included.
Thank you.
And they're literally from around the world, and they're coming together, and everyone is sharing their best advice, their best tools, strategies, practices from their field of expertise. So you can take that and implement it in your business straight away.
I love it. First of all, thank you so much for obviously making us a part of this incredible experience. And like we were mentioning earlier, like the fact that you have incredible people in their respective fields together in one thing, if you're listening right now, please take advantage of this. We're going to leave the links right below in the description. Go check Beate's out, because the people that are coming in are adding incredible value. And this, even if you're starting or if you're a seasoned person, like already moving, creating that momentum inside of your business, there's always going to be some golden boulder in there that you can grab and take action. Incredible. So thank you, Beate, for taking your time to gather all these people and making sure that this is a great experience. We certainly had a great experience with you when we chatted last week, and I cannot wait to see what the rest of the summit brings to the people wanting to make that transition. Yeah,
absolutely. I want to, invite the person listening right now. If you have that passion, haven't turned it into profit yet, definitely go and sign up for the Passion to Profit Summit. And now, Beate, I actually have a question for the marketer that is listening, right? AKA me here. And then obviously the other marketer on the side that they might be asking, okay, what is the benefit of putting a summit together, right? Like, is maybe a summit a good move for my business, right? What can I get? Because I do personally see it as a win-win situation, actually a win-win-win situation. Win for, first of all, the customer, right? The client that is going to come here, that are going to see all this information, that is going to, they're literally going to be there to get their lives changed. Then I see the benefit to the other speakers, because now they're getting exposure to a whole new audience. And I see the benefit as well for you, because you are building relationships and you are actually building to your list, right? Which is huge.
Absolutely.
So I'm curious now, again, from the marketing side, what is it for you? What, from the standpoint of how challenging maybe has it been to put the summit together, and what are you expecting, from the sense of a business standpoint?
Absolutely. And you've touched on so many of those things already. It's absolutely a win-win-win situation for everyone. I want to kind of go back a little bit further, because I think what was so key in getting this summit started as well was working with my coach one-to-one and really nailing down to what I'm passionate about, what I love doing and what I'm good at. And I love doing interviews. So I was doing these Instagram live interviews with other entrepreneurs. And I was getting the video quality on Instagram is not great. And then, I was just not, it was just not quite fitting. And I was like, but I really love doing it. And I'm not getting any, traction from it. So we kind of discussed it. And what the beauty for me in it was that, we created a business strategy that was, because not many people do a summit, but the second we've kind of found that idea, I was like, oh my God, that's exactly the right thing for me to do. Even though everyone else who is on the same mastermind is doing something very different. But it's the beauty of really tapping into what works for you and creating your own unique business strategy. So that's why we started, as well as, really wanting to make a big impact.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's been an absolute roller coaster. It's been so much work. I knew it was going to be hard work, but it was definitely a lot more work than I thought it was. Yeah. It's basically taken up my life for the last 6 months. But it was so worth it. So even in those, and that kind of just shows that you're on the right track, even in those tough moments when you're like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. Why am I not getting anywhere? Especially at the beginning, the first few months were really tough to find speakers. Because I've not been in the industry for that long. And some of the speakers I've got on there now, I've been in it for 10 years. They've got lists of 50,000 people on their database. And to get to people like that, it's not, it's not that easy.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you know that as well, like finding guests. So it's, but every single step of that I've been going through, and now it's the fun part, now it's doing the interviews, and I absolutely love it. And it's just so worth it. It's just, even though I'm exhausted and I'm tired and I've been working like crazy, and I'm not a big proponent of working crazy hours as an entrepreneur, but sometimes when you run up to these big events or big, summits or big launches, you do end up putting more hours in. And but I just go to bed with a big smile on my face, even though I can barely, like my shoulders are aching and I haven't, working on the weekend, but I'm just with a big smile. So that gives me a lot already. But of course it is about building the list, especially with what happened on Monday night with, half of social media crashing.
Yeah.
It just becomes so much more important to, really have a list that is yours and that you can communicate with, and that you can, on Instagram, that's probably the platform I use the most, is, 10% of your audience sees your content. My emails, at least everyone gets the email. Not everyone reads it. Yeah. But my opening rate is around 30%. So it's definitely way further up than what Instagram can deliver me.
Yeah.
And it's a much more intimate relationship that you can nurture and build up. And so that's,
I love it,
my business reasoning for it.
I want to highlight the passion that you have behind this. You could really see the emotion, right? And we were in a conference now a couple of weeks ago or a week ago. I can't. Yeah, time is flying. And they were talking about like, why do we get in this game, right? And at the end of the day, is to help and serve people. And I love it. I love because like you are putting this incredible amount of work, energy, time, right? Like in the relationships that you're building with these incredible people to put it in a very safe, easy access place to whoever wants to be a part of this, right? Okay. So that's why I wanna commend you. I wanna say thank you for making it, allowing us to be part of this journey and opportunity with you and serving alongside. So I really appreciate it. For those that are listening, right? Like if you have that itch, like Fonzi said, if you have, you want to really start making that transition or seeing like how it looks to turn that right into profit, especially in these hard times, please go ahead and check it out. This is an incredible experience. And now we have to go visit in Dubai and have fun over there.
Please. Well, I loved the interview we did for the summit, and I loved this conversation as well. And thank you so much for having me on. It's been a blast, despite all the technical glitches. I know. But I think that just keeps it entertaining and fun.
Absolutely. I mean, it's part of the brand now, apparently. Content's profit, technical Twitch.
Please expect that technical. Yeah, literally. We're going to have to find like a marketable moment that we can imprint when this type of things happen.
Yeah, be back in 5 minutes.
Yeah, we have one of those like boring dentist songs.
Yeah.
Great idea. Yeah. Great idea. And then people can dance to it.
Absolutely. Exactly. We'll just have like too many Luises just dancing on the screen. Beate, what's an action point that like entrepreneurs like looking to go from like that place of passion to profit? What's something that they can do today on top of going to and signing up for the summit, right? What is something that they can do today to get the ball rolling and create that momentum?
Listen for an idea. Ask the question like, what's my next step? And the first idea that pops into your head, write it down. And even if it's just the tiniest little action step you can take towards that, do it right now. So say, for example, your idea is to create a podcast, but it's just completely out of the blue. You have no idea what that is. And it feels like, oh gosh, that sounds quite scary. It sounds like it's going to be a big production. Or maybe I should, maybe leave the idea. But write it down. And then what's the smallest little thing you can do towards that idea? So that creating a podcast, Google it, how to create a podcast. That's the first step that you can take, which really is no effort whatsoever. And it doesn't have to be that big, we make these ideas up into these big missions. It doesn't have to be that. You just need to find the smallest little thing that you can do and do that. And that will lead you to the next smallest little thing. And then again and again and again. So whatever the idea is, ask the question. An idea will for sure pop into your head in the next 24 hours. Write it down and do the tiniest little action step you can think of.
Love it.
I love it. Action driven. That's what it is. The ideas are worthless if we don't take action on them. So thank you for that reminder.
Beate, where can people connect with you? Where can people find you? Where can people go to this summit?
Well, so I'm on Instagram. It's just my name, @Beate Sifkovits. Also on LinkedIn, also on Facebook. Quite simple, just my name. But most importantly, come and join the summit. We've got such amazing speakers, and I'm incredibly grateful for everyone who's committed their time and effort and expertise into delivering such incredible content. And some of the people that are joining, I'm absolutely blown away that they've agreed, but I'm just running with it.
Yes.
And you can find it at the www.thepassiontoprofitsummit.com.
Awesome. We're going to leave the links right at the bottom.
Yeah.
So make sure you're scrolling down, tapping them, putting your name, your email, signing up, and let's get Beate's opening rate from 30% to like 50%. Come on, let's do this. Let's open those emails. And then, of course, just tune in when the summit goes live.
Yeah, this is so exciting.
I promise you my emails are quite entertaining. You'll find out a lot about my life.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I love it. How it should be, right?
Even my dating.
Even the dating. Oh, that's
Even
fun stuff. Oh, boy. Okay. Be careful out there, single guys. Let's go. I love it. Anything else you want to add before we say goodbye?
I just want to say, whatever niggling feeling you have, don't push it down. Just start listening to it. Just tap into it and see where it takes you.
Ooh, that sounds.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. What is your feeling, Fonzie?
It's a great reminder. Right now, my feeling is that I'm a little hungry. that I need to eat some food. I've only had one meal today, so I need to eat.
I wanna as we wrap up the show, obviously. That you said, don't push that feeling down. For us, the feeling was to launch the show, to launch a podcast. We tried it a little bit. It was a lot of friction, and then we hit it and we pushed it down. And it took us a few years to grab traction. And now we have this incredible community, the people that we help, the clients that we have, the people that we are able to serve is because we grabbed that feeling from deep down, I pushed it back up and took action. So thank you so much. I think a lot of people are going to benefit out of this. So exciting. And with that said, thank you guys so much for tuning to the Content is Profit podcast. Go ahead and follow the show and on social media at BIZBROS. Go.
That is right. And if today's guests help you move one step forward to your goal, please don't forget to share this with 3 friends. Not 1, but 3. And don't forget to leave a 5-star review. See ya.
Bye, guys.